Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Kim and I do a little bit of everything in the kitchen with our microwave convection oven, prepping and canning for sustainability. I just received a Excalibur Food Dehydrator, which we're going to be using today. We're going to be doing banana chips at my husband's request. Let's go. Alright, we're going to start out with making the dip that you want to use for your fruit, bananas specifically. I'm choosing a honey dip method instead of a chemical or one of the other ones that are suggested in the book here. What we're going to do is we're going to get this going, so when I cut up the fruit, we're just going to put it right in the bowl. And we're going to do it in small batches, and let's see how it goes, okay? Start out with 3 cups of hot water, very hot water, because you want to dissolve your honey and your sugar. So you have 1 cup of sugar, and then we're going to do 1 cup generously of honey. I'm just pouring it in. I want to make sure that I have enough in there. Maybe I'll put a little extra, who knows. Now that I have everything mixed in, I'm going to stir to help it start dissolving. And we're looking for no granules in there, and the honey is really loose right now, which is really good. Taking it out to see how the sugar is dissolving. That looks pretty good. This just takes a couple of seconds to stir for it to dissolve. And then now we're going to add it into our bowl. And I'm going to do about half for right now, because we're going to do 1 bunch in this mixture and then the next bunch in this mixture. We'll see in a few minutes. I'm putting on gloves today because I'm highly allergic to bananas. Just makes it easier for me, and I don't have to worry about any allergic reaction. You want your fruit to be fresh and any signs of aging. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these into about 1/4 to 1/8 inch slice. Put them in the water. You don't want to do them really thick. You want to try to be consistent on your size. It makes for a better drying. And the reason why we're soaking these is to prevent the bananas from turning brown. My understanding is if you don't use a pre-treatment for your fruit becomes brown. You need to definitely, when you're dealing with vegetables, blanch or pre-treat them with a chemical treatment. Myself personally, I kind of like doing a more natural. I don't mind the fact that I'm going to be using sugar and honey and water. It's something I can see. I know there's nothing in the honey. I know there's nothing in the sugar. Okay. Almost done with our first banana here. And you want to try to be consistent. You can use food processors. Bananas are a little harder to do with food processors that I found. Even when I'm doing banana cream pie with fresh bananas, I just would prefer slicing them just by hand. Okay. I'll see you when all of these are done and ready to go on the tray. One last tip here is with bananas, you have these little pieces of skin and pith. So what we're going to do is try to get them all off. Alright, and don't forget to make sure that you cut off the ends and check and see if there's any brown spots on your bananas. So now we have drained our bananas, and I'm going to start the assembly process to put them on the trays. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that they're well drained. You want to make sure that your fruit, vegetables are lined up. You don't want to put them in clumps. You want to make sure that they're spread out. It's better for them not to be touching, but it does happen. There are some vegetables that you can just throw in there and they dehydrate just perfectly. Onions is a really good example of that. Alright, I'm not sure how many trays this is going to be, but I'm kind of hoping for 4 to 6 trays. Maybe 2 gallon-sized bags for my husband. He loves these to snack on, so I would rather spend the money buying fresh fruit, vegetables, and dehydrating them for him instead of, you know, buying store-bought when you don't know what they've used in their products. Alright, we'll see you in just a minute. Alright, the first 2 trays are ready to go in the food dehydrator. We're going to put them in. I'm going to continue doing the rest of the bananas, the dip, and then putting them on the trays, and we'll see in just a little bit. Since I'm allergic to bananas, I want to make sure that when these are done, I completely wash each one of these individually really well. I want to make sure that there is no residue of bananas on it because it could affect how I react to other foods after dehydrating the bananas. Alright, so now that we have everything set up and ready to go, we're going to close the door or put the door on. And I'm going to turn it on. I'm giving it a little room behind. I have probably 6 inches behind my wall. I'm going to turn it on to fruit and we'll see in just a minute. I'm looking for fruit and fruit roll-ups. So we're going to turn it on to 135 degrees. And this will go for anywhere between 6 to 10 hours depending on the consistency. We want a leather consistency. So I've turned it so I can have the air coming out this way instead of having it at the back. I thought we needed a little more circulation. So I'm going to turn it on to 135 degrees. Just take the little knob and you turn it to 135 and there you go, it's running. Alright, so we're going to check on this at 6 hours. According to this book, 10 hours is the time we want to go to dehydrate the bananas. We're going to check it, and if I need to, we will turn the trays about halfway through, which is about 5 hours, and I'll bring you along for that so you can see how things are progressing throughout this experiment of ours. Alright, we'll see you in a little bit. I'm going to give you a little update here. This has been going for about an hour, and every half hour or so it does make a kind of a very noisy rattling sound. I'm not sure if this is normal. I took off the door to see if anything in here was jarring something, and everything seems fine. Right now it's in its quiet mode, but it does, after about a half an hour, start rattling really loud. I'm not sure if this is normal or if this is something that is always going to be part of this machine, but I'll let you know. Alright, see ya. It's been about 5 hours since we put in our banana chips, and what I'm going to do now is check it, and I'm going to turn the trays. So it's going to be very hot. Ooh, Oh, they smell delicious too. Wow. Oh, the trays aren't hot. Okay, so this is what they're starting to look like. This is 4 hours, or actually 5. So I'm just going to change them, spin them around. And like I said, it's not hot to the touch at all. But I'll tell you what, the machine is noisy. And what I've done is I've put them in every other slot. It gets a lot of air around it. Oh, they're coming out really nice. All right, so this has been 5 hours and they're looking really good. We're gonna put our door back on, turn the machine back on to 135 and wait probably another 4 to 5 hours. We'll check it then. All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, I've moved our dehydrator around to the front, and as you can tell, it's a little loud. What I want to do is I'm going to take the door off and check, because it's been just about 10 hours. And the heat that's coming off of it. All right. Okay, so right now, as you can see, they're at a pliable consistency. So I would say, and they're kind of tacky still. I think what I'm going to do is let them go for another 2 hours and see how that does. And I think I'm going to go up on the temperature just a little bit. So the next setting is 145. We're about at 145 now. I've moved the temperature up. We're going to go for another 2 hours. And by this time I'm hoping it'll be done, because that'll be 12 hours. Alright, we'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. 24 hours later and our banana chips are still not done. Well, I can attribute it to maybe 1 or 2 things. We've had rain for the past 7 days. Our humidity is in the 90%. And the second thing I can think of is maybe when I soaked or dipped the bananas, it was too much moisture. I'm going to show you what it looks like now after 24 hours. Alright, so they're still extremely sticky and they are turning this funky color brown. I mean, I'm very disappointed. Very disappointed. They're supposed to be like leather and chip-ish, but this is not what it's turning out to be. So I'm not sure. I'm to the point where I've already turned up the heat setting on this to 145, and as you can tell, this thing is rather loud. So I'm trying to show you exactly. Right now this is on the quieter mode. It usually gets a little louder, and 24 hours of it is almost too much. I think the next time I do this, I will do this somewhere else other than the kitchen, to where it's central to the rest of our house. Alright, so we're going to let it go for another, I would say 2 hours, maybe 3, and we'll see from there. Alright, see you in a few.